Father,
What?
did something change? The forest feels different now.
Everything is different, boy. Try not to dwell on it.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we'll be examining the evolution of Kratos throughout the God of War series, and how the Ghost of Sparta has evolved from the angriest man in all of Greece to the reserved father figure we see in 2018's God of War. There will be full spoilers for the entire God of War series from here on. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Kratos is not an easy character to like, and boy, he's not supposed to be. In the earliest entries in the God of War series' original run, we saw a man haunted by his own actions. Things he either willingly chose to do in the pursuit of victory at all costs, or was manipulated to do as part of the gods either testing him or attempting to push him to his limits. While many still loved the angry Kratos of the early games, it became harder to identify with him as the series progressed. Developers seemed to want to see just how far they could push Kratos themselves with some of the actions presented to Kratos to which neither he nor the player had any say in the matter. Don't want to sacrifice that soldier pleading for his life? Too bad! Has to be done. Would rather just take Hermes' boots instead of cutting off his legs to get them? No choice. And these are just a couple of the tamer examples of Kratos doing absolutely whatever is necessary to accomplish his own goals, and the developers pushing the envelope as much as they possibly could at the sacrifice of whatever humanity Kratos might have had left. In other ways, however, Kratos' unbridled rage is more understandable as more future entries fleshed out the Ghost of Sparta's backstory and the history of the legendary name he carries. Either betrayed at every turn by the gods he served for their own purposes, or tricked into killing any remaining family he had left. And boy, the chip on Kratos' shoulder is bigger than Mount Olympus itself.
I bring the destruction of Olympus!
By the time Kratos finally kills Ares at the end of the first God of War, we, like Kratos, are hoping for an end to the nightmares that torment him from all the horrific actions and atrocities he performed in his quest for not only revenge, but for some peace. But of course, this is not to be, and after being crowned the new God of War, Kratos is again betrayed by the only god he still believes in, Zeus, who by the end of God of War 2, we learn is actually Kratos' father. By God of War 3, none of Olympus is safe, and even Kratos' newest allies continue to turn on him at every opportunity.
I never sought your death, Spartan, yet you have left me no choice.
In the end, Kratos chooses his humanity over godhood, sacrificing himself to give humanity a chance now that all the gods of Olympus are dead. However, not even Kratos can kill Kratos, which brings us to his biggest step in development as a character, 2018's God of War. Having traveled for an undetermined amount of time before finding himself in Midgar, Kratos is once again a family man. Kratos continues to try to deal with the consequences of his actions within himself, trying to lead a simpler life, and trying his best to keep his rage and personal history and trauma in check.
What are you doing? Now his guard is up. Only fire. Only fire. When I tell you to fire.
Midgard represents a fresh start for Kratos, an opportunity to leave his past behind him and start over again, which he does with his wife Faye and son Atreus. Kratos seeks to find a simpler life than the one he had before, and he found it, for a time at least. This is not the Kratos we are used to. This Kratos is in a constant battle with himself, and we can see him wanting to fulfill the fatherly role his son Atreus wants and needs. Kratos himself is a broken man. Someone so haunted by their past that he almost appears completely emotionless and numb.
Do not mistake my silence for lack of grief.
Kratos once again becoming a father must be a terrifying prospect. Having lost everyone he could have ever loved or cared about, mostly by his own hand, the thought of losing another family is clearly something that weighs heavily on Kratos' mind. And then, he does. We start 2018's God of War with Kratos and his boy collecting wood for a burial pyre for Faye. Kratos has lost a part of his life once again, and Atreus has lost his mother and sees himself stuck with a cold, distant, and unnurturing father figure. We even witness Atreus' true feelings later on in a vision within the light of Elfheim, with Atreus wishing it had been Kratos instead of Faye who had left him.
It should have been him. Do you hear me? Him, not you.
Fatherhood is a challenge no matter what the circumstances may be. A constant battle of nurturing your child while at the same time not only preparing them for the world ahead and letting them make their own decisions, and all the while struggling to control your own emotions in the face of theirs. For someone like Kratos, whose rage brought down the entirety of Greece, the struggle within him cannot be measured. Atreus acts as Kratos' anchor to the world of Midgard. Kratos does not fully understand the world of Midgard and their customs or languages, and likewise, Atreus would not survive without his father's strength and guiding hand to help him become a capable fighter. One cannot exist in this world without the other, and while Atreus undoubtedly respects his father, he clearly wants a relationship more akin to what he once had with his mother, who taught her son the ways with a gentle hand, leading him through an uncertain world. As the two journey together, we watch as a mutual respect begins between them as their bond also starts to grow until, like most things in Kratos' life, a god interrupts and threatens to destroy everything Kratos has left in this world.
Whoops. I think I broke him.
Atreus falling ill is one of the first times we witness Kratos' true love for his son. The genuine worry and feeling of helplessness is immediately identifiable to any parent having to sit by unable to fix the problem on their own. Kratos drops his own personal hatred of the gods in order to save his boy's life, and in doing so, is forced to revisit a past he wanted more than anything to leave behind. Kratos' retrieval of the Blades of Chaos, hidden in his new home, is another representation of how Kratos is unable to let go of his past. He could have easily left behind the weapons he was burdened with that had caused so much death and destruction in his past, but he couldn't. Even kept secret under the floorboards, they continue to haunt him. And then the ghostly image of Athena appears to Kratos, reminding him of who he is. And this is the first instance we see Kratos begin to accept his past as a way to move forward.
You will always be a monster.
I know. But I am your monster no longer.
As the blades once again course with power, Kratos takes his first strides toward reconciliation with who he once was. Finally revealing the truth of who and what he is to Atreus, Kratos witnesses firsthand his own arrogance coming forth in his own son, and the chances of the cycle of hatred and violence once again coming full circle. In the end, Atreus sees the consequences of his actions and is reminded by Kratos that all of his choices as a god and a man can have severe ramifications on not only their lives, but the world and those around them.
I am your father, and you, boy, are not yourself. You are too quick to temper. You are rash, insubordinate, and out of control. This will not stand.
Kratos saves Atreus' humanity, and in turn, begins to save his own. By the time Kratos and Atreus reach the land of the giants to spread Faye's ashes, Kratos finally accepts there is nothing more to hide, and embraces his past, because it will not determine his future. In the end, Kratos is finally free, and has made peace with himself, and not only who he was, but who he is, which is all he wanted from the very beginning.
Boy.
What do you think of Kratos' journey throughout the God of War series? If you like this video, there's more where that came from.